Teachers of Reddit, what is the craziest thing you have seen on a student's social media? A few years ago, a school near where I teach had an epidemic of kids exchanging nudes. From stories that I heard, the kids were trading them like baseball cards, and students that didn't participate were harassed until they did. If I remember correctly, I think almost the entire football team was kicked off the team, and many students throughout the school were charged with possessing child porn. I have a girl that is 14 and writes a lot of amazing creepypasta stories. Like this girl has spookiness down. I love the work she does. Sadly, she had detailed plans on a message board about slaughtering her little sister and her adopted family, and possess the means to do it in person. I work in a mental institution that's also a school. Either way, she's super cool. She's one of my favorites. Hopefully she doesn't get out and actually kill someone, but you never know with kids like her. Not me, but my fiance used to work the IT department of a school. Sometimes they got reports from students or teachers that suspect there's something on a student's school iPad. All I can say is, students, for the love of God, please stop taking nudes on school equipment. Not me, but my wife. A student posted a suicide note on Snapchat. Another student showed it to my wife. She ran to the front office and called 911. Kid was home with his mom and had overdosed in his room. Kid was taken to a hospital and survived. Saved his life. Not a teacher, but some kid at my teen school posted naked pictures of him being with another student's mom. Both were naked in the photo. Small town. Word travels to everyone. The moment her husband got a divorce and they all moved out of town. Was a wild ride in our little shitter town. Edit. I should clarify that the kid had just turned 18 at the time of the photo. 8th graders posted his wake and bake session on Snapchat. Someone showed the dean and now he has it saved on his phone. For the rest of the year, that kid was the most straight-laced dude. Literally think the dean was blackmailing him into being a better student. Lol. Edit. My first silver. Thank you. Fighting videos like I'm talking fighting and teachers in the background watching the whole thing happen without doing a thing to separate it. Some kids were so ecstatic to show me too. What a weird world. Not exactly social media originally, but it definitely ended up there. I teach high school and the students were talking about a middle school student who wrote a novel. It turned out to be an extremely graphic fanfiction of two of the male middle school teachers. The girl that wrote it was in 7th grade. We are talking about full-on novel. Around 200 pages and 13 chapters. Supposedly it is only book 1 in the series. The crazy thing is, my students showed me one paragraph before I knew what it was, and it was hands down the best technical writing of any student I have ever had. Again, I teach high school. She was in the 7th grade. Unbelievably well written. And unbelievable a 7th grader was able to describe things with such disturbing detail. I had a student tell me that he had to go out and look for his roommate's body and therefore would not be in class, and that his roommate had been killed in a kayaking incident. Now, when a student dies, we are told, at some past institutions this was not the case. For example, if you had a student from your course commit suicide, you were just supposed to act like nothing was wrong and that nothing had happened and that they had never been there. So quite honestly was like, okay, this might be true, or dude might be lying. Apostrophe. It was a few years ago, and so I got on Facebook, found the student, and identified the roommate. Unfortunately it was true. Unfortunately he was not the one that found the body, and the announcement came out slightly thereafter. I was able to excuse the absence without further evidence, which is always a nice thing to be able to do for somebody. The crazy thing, though, was that his roommate's quote was, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." It was uncomfortable. A friend of mine who is a teacher found a live stream of his science class. Not a teacher, but in year 10 my teacher reported this girl who was always quiet for having a fully lewd Belle Delphine-esque Instagram and Patreon. These teachers at my school found a kids meme page, and keep in mind was a preppy stuck-up school. Anyway, the meme account had the usually slightly edgy kind of content, but the school acted as if it were a hate crime. Parents were called in. There was a whole school assembly on social media and the appropriate content that should be posted. The school went as far as suspending the kids behind the account for 1 week and giving detentions to every kid who liked the memes. The whole ordeal was just stupid and left me wondering if teachers even cared about the kids who were very clearly smashed on drugs. So, in my school district, teachers can lose their jobs for following students on social media. That being said, sometimes a student will get worried about something that they see posted and will bring me a screenshot of it. So, due to that, the craziest thing I've ever seen was one of our students pointing a gun at the camera and threatening to turn the walls of the school red with blood. I took the student who reported it to the front office and made a full report to administration. Never saw the kid who posted that again. Speaking for my wife here, she was on the bus with 30 high school students on their way to a field trip. She was trying to share something with a co-worker over AirDrop and her phone started getting flooded with nude photos of students. Apparently there is an option on AirDrop to insta-share photos with anyone else who has AirDrop on. Goes without saying she freaked out and shut her phone off. Then had a long talk with them afterwards about how dangerous that is. When I was in middle school, there was a trend where we made fake Facebook events and invited a bunch of people. One time my brother or one of his friends made one that was called Gay Lesbian Orgy and Friends. Name S House, and invited a bunch of people. He invited one of my friends, girl around 15 years old, that went to a different school and barely knew the people involved in the event, and she clicked she would attend without paying much attention to the name. A few days later one of her teachers approached her after class to have a very awkward conversations along the lines of, I know you might be struggling with figuring out your sexuality, but taking part in things like that could be very dangerous etc. My friend was very confused. Not a teacher, but at my friend's school, a couple of students broke and used up all the dry ice in the fire extinguishers and posted a picture to Instagram with the caption, "It's Christmas." They were expelled, but I'm not sure if they faced legal charges because the legal system in my country is shit. Not me, but my GF principal called all teachers to talk about something a couple of students had done. They were, I assume, BF and GF, and stayed in the classroom during break. She went down on him, with one hand on his dick and the other filming for social media. Snapchat, I guess. The security camera caught it too. Edit, I said recess instead of break. My bad. Thanks for correcting me. The kids are 15. 16 yo. I stay a mile away from all my kids and parents on social media. I am not going down for stalking or something because Karen wants an easy payday. Obligatory, not a teacher, but my old high school has a surprisingly good wholesome meme IG. Some of the younger teachers started submitting memes about their co-workers, and when I met them at a bar once they were dying laughing and bragging about how funny their students are. Not a teacher, but the teacher found out about it and had to deal with it. Some girl wrote a long and detailed multi-part fanfic about some guys in the school, using full real names. I was teaching 8th grade English in a low-income high-crime area. We had one student who was really hard. He was loud, obnoxious, rude and downright mean to most of the staff and other students. For some reason I really liked him and he felt the same. Always respectful to me and often helped me keep the class in line. The other teachers' students would always make comments about how we will see him up for murder one day, and I would stick up for him. He came from a really bad home life most were not fully aware of. Anyway, he friended me on Facebook at the end of the school year and I accepted. About 4 years later I see an update posted by him. He posted quite a bit. From a couple nights before that simply showed a gun and bullets with a caption, "Some bitches are going to pay. Getting my turf back," or something like that. Anyway, Long story short, he was involved in a drive-by and killed a 17-year-old kid who was at a rival's party. He was not the intended victim. Anyway, when the news ran the story and showed his Facebook post as what helped the police find him, my blood ran cold. I wish I would have seen the post earlier or could have done something. He was sentenced to 20 years since they couldn't prove who pulled the trigger. Still makes me sad. I really thought he would break the cycle of poverty and prison that has run through his family line forever.